So Hyundai has pulled back the curtain on the brand new Santa Fe, and I just cannot help myself. I've got to give you my first thoughts on it. Welcome back to All Cars, my friends. I am John, and let's jump into what you want to know. The new Santa Fe is dramatically restyled, and it's about 2 inches longer in the wheelbase. It's about 2 inches longer overall, and it's about 1 to 2 inches taller. And of course, it's been made more boxy, which improves third seat, headroom, cargo space, everything else that comes associated with it. But it's actually not any wider than the previous one. It just looks it. Under the hood, they've simplified the engines down to two, a turbocharged 2.5 liter, making about 277 horsepower and feeding that through an 8-speed dual clutch automatic, and another option, the 1.6 liter hybrid, making about 178 horsepower, something like that, through a 6-speed automatic. You'll notice what's missing here is a plug-in hybrid, and it turns out that it was such a slow seller here in the United States, they just decided not to offer it again, although they are going to be offering it over in Europe. Now, what Hyundai discovered was that their people, using big data, a good number of their people like to do outdoorsy things with their SUVs, and they were looking for something more rugged looking, and that's why Hyundai went in this styling direction, which also opens up a ton of cargo interior space and a lot of just overall functionality. And a lot of people are comparing this to the Land Rover Defender, but I honestly really don't see it. I mean, I guess kind of if you squint, but I think inside profile this actually has some Toyota vibes, maybe some Land Rover, but mostly Toyota vibes. I think, something along the lines of the 4Runner or the new Land Cruiser that's coming out. But definitely from the front, to me, this looks like an old Ford Flex. Square boxy styling in the same front end. But one of the things that Hyundai has done that's been pretty cool is they keep hiding H's, the letter H, around the vehicle. So if you look at the front headlights, there's an H. If you look at the area under the grille, there's an H. If you look at the rear taillights, there's an H. And if you squint just right and you're looking at where the vents are on the dash, it's an H. Let's talk about the interior. See, I liked the old Santa Fe, and it was never really, I thought it was handsome on the outside. I thought it was very comfortable on the inside. It never really reached a aspirational level, right? This is still just a mid-priced family hauler. But compared to what Honda does or what Toyota does, it was a very rich interior, at least to me. Now, the new version, they've widened it out quite a bit, and they've drawn inspiration, I believe, from the Ioniqs. This is a much cleaner lines overall, and I really dig it. Two 12.3-inch displays up front, and really cool, 2 wireless charging pads for your phone, so you and your passenger can charge at the same time. A UV system for disinfecting. I guess that's a holdover from the pandemic, and a lot of people who are 5 years later, 3 years later, hey, I'm concerned about germs on the hands. And interestingly, the center console is actually dual hinged, but instead of opening from side to side, it opens from front to back, so that if you've got something in there, the backseat passengers can dig into the center console as well. Overall, this is a really, really good looking vehicle. And the problem is, I want to hate it. I think the front end looks a little goofy. I don't think it has the distinctiveness of a Land Rover, and the rear end just looks like a cargo van to me. But the more I look at those taillights, I hate those low taillights. But the more I've looked at this, because I originally wasn't going to do a video about this and my thoughts on it, but the more I look at it, the more I like it. And I mean, a very primal, I really, really like this. Whereas the previous Santa Fe looked like a good-looking but generic contemporary SUV, right up there with what Honda and Toyota and Ford and Chevy and Volkswagen and everybody else are doing, the same rounded look. Hyundai Absolutely. It just feels, although this is the Santa Fe, is 23 years old. That blows my mind. And this one was released, the previous one was released in 2018. So this is almost a 5-year, going on 6-year-old vehicle by the time the new Santa Fe comes out. The curtain's been pulled back, but it's going to actually be officially unveiled at the Los Angeles Auto Show. So at that point, we should know pricing. We expect it to be roughly in the same areas where the current one is, 30-ish thousand to about 38 for the hybrid version. It feels like Hyundai is just on an absolute roll with redesign, and they've really gotten a lot of confidence in what they're doing. They're producing some stuff that's kind of ugly, but at least they're getting people talking. They're taking swings, and they're doing things that people are not doing out there. Think about the Ioniq 5, for example. So when this came out, I wanted to dislike it, but the more I've looked, the more I like this vehicle. I don't know what else to say about it other than it. I've always liked the Flex. I always liked the old Honda Element, and darn if this doesn't feel like it's at least inspired by the same design philosophy. And I completely dig it. I'm looking forward to more information about the pricing, about the gas mileage they actually can get out of essentially a billboard driving down the road. But really, really looks good. Let me know your thoughts below, guys. Thanks for being here.